Response video to a couple of videos, one by Gratex and Piro, and then also a conversation I just had in Stickcam, and the conversation didn't really go anywhere because some woman had to change the subject to Ching Pao beef or something, because she was having a hamburger, and so she wanted to talk about $30 a pound beef or something. But whatever. They're just really pointless. Anyway, Matt ended up kicking me out of the room, the little weasel. But he, they make no counter argument. So when you present an argument to them, they just kind of sit there, and so it is kind of irritating. So anyway, this whole argument about the truth again. So basically what we were talking about in Stickcam is the separation between our psychology and our intellect. We can intellectually learn things, and they can make us have an appreciation or discipline our behavior or change our whole perspective. Make us incapable of behaving in a manner we would have behaved in if we didn't realize a certain truth about what we are required to do ethically or rationally or logically based on the information we have acquired, the knowledge we have acquired. And Gratex and Pyro, I mean more Gratex than Pyro, because Pyro just talks around every issue, so it's hard to pin him down on anything. He was more talking about nature versus nurture, and I think most people with a brain are, are pretty comfortable saying that, nurture's 90% of the ball game and, nature's 10%. But regardless, it really doesn't have, it becomes totally irrelevant once you introduce intelligence, because intelligence can grasp to a truth. And it doesn't matter what culture it lives in, it doesn't matter what planet it's on, it doesn't matter where it is or what it's born with, or it's completely disconnected from any circumstance. If they're exposed to a piece of information, that information has power, especially when it's defined as a truth. And yes, the world is now, there's lots of people who think they have a truth, and quite obviously they have a truth that's completely irrational. I mean, even the idea that they think it's a truth that something is fucktarded as faith is a legitimate source of understanding, kind of the big giveaway. So yeah, I mean, obviously there's no point in having truth if you don't have a logical chain that you build it out of. If that chain has huge breaks in it, huge contradictions, huge pieces of crap, then there's no finding the truth. But there is a truth to be found. We can learn things about reality. We can observe them and discover them, and they can change how we perceive the world. I mean, it's that simple. And even if we can't change who we are, we can change how we behave and how we interact in that world. And so even if we still like something, we can intellectually know that that liking is a pile of shit and doesn't mean anything. And so, I mean, Gratex is basically arguing that everybody just makes their truth up to suit their personality or something like that, or to suit their psychology. He's not giving any leeway to the possibility that people could actually be intellectuals, that they could actually have a reverence for knowledge and wisdom and understanding, and the pursuit of a logical chain that's hard and rigid and firm, and that is made out of good links. He's almost arguing that that's not a possibility. It's just complete fucking bullshit. You don't judge people based on the fact that they say, I have a truth. You judge them based on how they articulate that truth, and how they defend that truth, and how they logically explain that truth. And then you can make your argument. But everybody's not in the same category. Everybody professing to know a truth isn't the same human being, and they aren't professing it based on the same information. So it's just complete bullshit. This is so frustrating when people who are supposed to have an intelligence have no reverence for intelligence. It's quite amazing. And the power of intelligence, the power of knowledge, and I don't know what the end game is here. If you sit there and concede that there's no common human truth to be defined and established. I mean, we have done some of that. We've established that slavery is bullshit. We've established that, whatever the anti-feminism thing is. I can't remember the word for it. But yeah, that discrimination against women is just unfounded, ridiculous, stupid. We've declared those to be truths, and we can do it quite comfortably because the logic is there, the argument is there. It's a solid argument. And I'd go so far as to say there's other things that we've established. Evolution's a goddamn fact. It's not just a theory. It's an established piece of knowledge that's earned respect because the evidence is substantial. So whatever. I mean, I won't make this a long video, but I hate these fuckers, these petty weasels. You know, they're so... I don't know why they're so glued to some idea that somehow the world is going to function if all the people just live out their cultural biases and bigotries. That's not going to work. The only hope the human race has is to cling to some fundamental facts, some observations about what the fuck's going on here. Some real values. I don't know what's wrong with my voice, but whatever. Allergies, I guess. So, excuse the but yeah, hard to talk. So anyway, just a quick video. I'll put it on the DoNotGod channel just because what the hell, it's not much of a video and we've been over this shit before. But it's just, I really don't know how the rest of you can't look in your brain, look inside your own head and see a distinction between your intelligence and your psychology. I mean, I've always been able to see that line. As long as I can remember back, I can remember realizing that what I want or what this or that's just the selfish me or the ego me or the fearful me or some other part of me, and that there's this intelligence thing that has a whole nother equation in it, and that it's able to speak to me and say, no, well, you're just being an asshole, or you're being a wuss, or you're being some other thing. And it's not necessarily strong enough. That intellectual knowledge isn't always enough to stop us from being impulsive and stop us from acting on our desire and our bullshit. But it's certainly capable of letting us know now and then that we're assholes, that we're full of shit, you know, and over time you can develop a substantial amount of your character as a human being, I think, is going to be developed out of that intelligence, about just realizing that something you did was hurtful to somebody, or that it doesn't have a positive consequence, that you can't win with that equation. I mean, you can even hate somebody, and intellectually you can know inside your head, well, look, there's no point in hating them. You know, they're just assholes, and blah, blah. You go through the whole rationalization, the whole, in a good way, the whole manipulating of the factual circumstance that lets you know that your hate is kind of pointless. It doesn't mean your hate just evaporates, but it does diminish it. It has a power to give you the strength to do what you need to do, to discipline yourself, to be a better human. And I don't know how these intelligent people can be making some counter argument to that, because there just isn't one. So anyway, yeah, so the rest of the stick ham thing, it got into the whole, you know, I tried to push the argument a little bit further, in that intelligence really doesn't have an agenda without human desire. And desire is the source of our morality in a sense, because we grew up in social, you know, we're a social animal, and so we have the faculty of love and empathy and concern, but those are really possessive kind of faculties, and through our intelligence we've been able to expand that a bit, but we're still really, that's the source of that first capacity to have any kind of extended concern for something else, is the fact that it's sort of our nature to have concern in the first place, to care. And we're able to expand that with our intelligence, but it does grow out of something native. And then if I built a reproducing machine that had only consumption and reproduction as its agenda, it might not acquire any of those sensibilities, and it just might be what most animals are, which is just mission oriented, and they don't waste time on compassion. It's all very possessive, very immediate to them personally. They can't expand whatever capacity they have to love. They have very limited capacity to extend it to other things. So whatever, but then the point is that our intelligence really doesn't have any purpose but to serve this stupid beastie that we are, because intelligence by itself has no mission. But intelligence should be, for us, because of the complexity of our lives and these interactions, intelligence should be defining our goals, not our subjective wants, needs, desires, our personal interests. And that's a simple principle to understand, and it's an intelligent principle, and it goes against all our nature. It goes against what we want, but it's the only thing that makes a civilized human being is that knowledge that there's something more important than yourself. So, enough said. I'm running out of time anyway. So, fuck you, Matt, and yeah, same to you, Gratex and Piro.